First, Rachel, this situation reminds me of something that MLK said in 1963, a very simple truth. He said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And what I experienced yesterday.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a real example of discrimination that happened to Gianna Caldwell of Fox News. Now, of course, there is a video of him explaining what happened, and I'll link to that in the description if you want to see it in full. But before we get to that, first things first. Now, Gianna Caldwell obviously is a conservative on a conservative platform, and he's having, I believe, lunch or dinner with some neighbors out there in Florida area. And apparently people got triggered at what he was saying, not just the people that own the spot, but also those that were around. So he was kicked out of the place. Now, if that is not discrimination, then I don't know what it is. Where is the NAACP? Where is Black Lives Matter? Where is Congressional Black Caucus? Where is any Black-centric group or group that purports themselves to be in favor of anti-discrimination? Where are they at in this particular case? Why is it up to me, a YouTuber, to talk about it, and other guys in YouTube land and some of the conservative media outlets? Where are the Black-centric places to defend Gianna Caldwell? Isn't he Black? But different story. I digress. Let's get into the video. And of course, this will be in the description box below. If you're watching on IG, please go to the link in the bio, go to my website and the corresponding article. But let's go ahead and roll it.
Fox News political analyst and our friend Gianna Caldwell is calling out a Miami, Florida restaurant after being asked to leave due to his conservative views. The restaurant, Paradis Books and Bread, writing on Instagram, quote, their behavior and their words made other folks in the space as well as us working very uncomfortable.
Let's pause right there. Now, when you start to see language like this, folks in space, you already know it's like a left-leaning establishment already. Okay, so when you go in there, at a certain point, you got to expect some of this, but it's crazy to expect to be discriminated against in a very liberal place because they purport themselves to be anti-discrimination, but you're going to get the most discrimination and judgment and hatred in a place like that versus a more conservative place where everybody's a lot more chill. As long as you don't go in a conservative space trying to start fights or drama like physical violence, you'll be okay.
We told them that our views don't align and that the language they were using was unwelcome in our space. Gianna wrote, taken for granted, and he joins us now. Thank you, Gianna. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us exactly what happened.
Well, first, Rachel, this situation reminds me of something that MLK said in 1963, a very simple truth. He said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And what I experienced yesterday, me and some of my neighbors who I'm just getting to know, was an injustice. It was a grave injustice. Yesterday, as we were having breakfast at this particular location, which I had never been to, it was the suggestion to them to visit this particular place. One of the owners came over to the table and told us she had been listening to our conversation. We were not welcome there. And I said to her, I said, did I say something that was triggering to you? She said, no. She said, our politics aren't aligned. I'm one of the owners. I'm an owner here. I don't feel comfortable. You have to leave.
Now, one thing that was said, maybe in what I read or what I saw earlier in the video, was that the other patrons of the place, the other people that were there eating, not just his friends, but others in the establishment, not just the ownership, were uncomfortable with what was being said. So it wasn't just the owner, but now the owner is saying, well, I heard the conversation and I feel offended and you guys got to leave.
So then I stood up, I walked out, and so did the rest of my group. Now, here's what we were talking about that was so problematic for this lady who happens to be white, I believe. I was talking to...
Well, it is Florida. It could be Miami. It could be Cuban, but that's a different story.
Them as they were getting to know me for the first time about Fox News. They said, how do you like, working over at Fox News? I was talking to them about my values. They said, are you a conservative? I said, yes. In fact, I have a book called Taken for Granted, How Conservatism Can Win Back the Americans That Liberalism Failed.
Great plug.
You should get the book. I talked to them about my brother. I was on Capitol Hill just the other week talking to members of.
And RIP to his brother. If you don't know about his brother was killed. I'm not really sure of the exact place in Chicago, but shot on the street. Very sad situation. Lori Lightfoot, Chicago, is out of control. So RIP to Gianna Caldwell's brother.
Congress about violent crime in America and trying to get justice for my brother and other victims of violent crime. I also talked about progressive DAs and how they're exacerbating the crime issue across the country. This was so problematic to this lady that she told me that I needed to get out of her establishment. If this was not the Jim Crow South, I couldn't tell much of a difference. This is what they've done over the course of the years. And me being a black man, me saying that I'm a conservative, me having a conversation with these folks who did not mention anything about their politics. They didn't mention anything at all. It was only me, and this lady stared me down the entire time that I was in the restaurant. There's a target on the backs of people who happen to be black, who happen to be conservative, and it needs to come to an end, Rachel. This should not be the case at all. Ron DeSantis said in Florida, discrimination is not allowed, and I hope that they're going to look closely to what happened here at this restaurant.
That was fantastic. Shout out to you, Gianno, for saying what you said. And what you're saying is right on point. You are being targeted because you're black and conservative. Like, I don't even like using the whole race card thing. Sometimes it's not even about your race. It's about what you say. They may find what you say offensive if you're conservative, whatever. But I've gotten direct racial comments from people that are liberal. The N-word, they love using the N-word. That's their favorite thing to do. They call to my show N-word, 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 N-word. How dare you talk about this conservative issue, that conservative issue? That's what they do. So if it's not about race, then all those N-words make it seem like it's about race. Every N-word and monkey and whatnot and C-word and all these racial slurs make me think it's about race. When you're talking about the left hating you because of your political beliefs and your race.
Yeah, it certainly says a lot about the myth of liberal tolerance. And maybe, what is it called? The Paradis Book and Bread restaurant should move to Havana, Florida, where they love only one point of view and don't have tolerance for a diversity of opinions. Gianna, we love you.
Troubling.
You can have breakfast with Fox and Friends anytime. We love you. And thanks for sharing that story, because they should be outed for their lack of tolerance. Gianna, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
So there you have it. Gianna Caldwell, Fox News, kicked out of a restaurant, and I think it was in Miami, Florida, because of his political beliefs. And like I said earlier, I think the initial story was, there were some patrons in the restaurant that got offended, and then they complained to the administration, and then they had to kick him out because of what the patrons were talking about. But really, it was the owner, the co-owner, or whoever that was that got offended. And he said that she was, eyes on him, staring him down the whole time. She probably knew exactly who he was from the beginning, saw him on Fox News, saw him on YouTube, saw him on social media somewhere, recognized who he was. Then she hears a conversation, then it confirms it. So now she's keyed in, and she's just spewing and with hatred and jealousy and envy, whatever kind of other emotion on the inside. She can't take it and kicks him out. That's probably what happened, in my humble opinion. I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it. I've seen that kind of stuff before. Being in the airport, you have on the MAGA hat or something like that. You have on some kind of conservative thing. You getting weird looks, people staring at you. They can't really do anything. But then I think this person realized, I got a little bit of power here. I'm a co-owner. I'm the boss's wife, whatever. I'm going to go to this man, kick him out, because I have the power to do that, because I want to do something to express my displeasure for his political point of view. How is this much different than the Jim Crow days where, okay, you're a black person, all right, you can't be in here. Now, if you're a black person and conservative, all right, you can't be in here, because you most certainly shouldn't be conservative, because they hate your people. You don't know what's best for yourself. But me, the white liberal savior, or the Hispanic white looking liberal savior, I got your best interests at heart. That's what goes on. I experienced that so much, and I'm glad that he said something to really point that problem out, because it's a real thing. People talk about racism all the time and all this episodes of discrimination. And a lot of times what they're talking about isn't really it. But that right there, what Gianna Caldwell described, is exactly it. It happens all the time. And it should come to an end. but I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what said you? How do you feel about what happened here? Is it to be expected? You go to a place. I mean, maybe he don't really know what's going on. It's kind of hard to tell if it's going to be a liberal spot sometimes. You could tell afterward, obviously, when they kick you out and they use certain language. But you're just going to a place, trying to get some breakfast. You're not in there causing the scene. You're just talking about politics. You're not using abrasive language, foul language, curse words. You're not, in there causing a wreck. You're dressed appropriately. You're doing things the right way. But your conversation topics are just too conservative. The political views don't match up. So that's enough to get kicked out. Okay, so is it a liberal only place? I'll go everywhere. I'll go to some of these places like Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. I know it's a liberal place. I mean, it's whatever. I see the they, them behind the counter. I don't care nothing about that. I was like, all right, they, them. Can you put a chicken in a little bag so they don't touch the broccoli and stuff like that? Can you pack it that way? I don't care what your pronouns are. I don't care if you got every color crayon in the world on your forehead and on top of your toupee. I don't care nothing about that. I'm in here to do business. I'm in here to get some services rendered and go about my day. That's it. That should be the way we operate. We can just work with each other and look past the differences. But apparently the lady in the restaurant could not do that. But whatever your thoughts are on that, y'all let me know. I've pretty much expressed myself right here. The real racism, the real discrimination is a lot of times based on your class difference, your political difference, and the race element does come into play, but it's not by those who you would think it would be. People think, oh, you're living in the South, you're living in Tennessee, West Virginia, Georgia, Alabama. It's the racist white man coming to get the black man, the redneck with the 2x4 and the pickup truck. It's not even like that. I'd much rather would be living right next door to a trailer full of rednecks, 2x4 pickup truck and all of that than a bunch of these crazy, ridiculous white liberals. Okay. My man with the pickup truck, we can go mudding somewhere. I got a pickup truck too. Come on, let's go. We got more in common than me and the white liberal. They're not going to necessarily like me a lot because of my political views and because I'm black. They think it's not congruent. They think they know what's best for me. It's like a paternalistic type ideology. But the other guys, they just like, come on, man, come on, let's go. Get your fish rod, get your 2x4. That's them. I don't know. It's just one of those things. And I hope this video helped people really realize how America is. And it also lets you know that it's not what the media tries to tell you, not in the least bit. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.